welcome to Autocar, writing about cars weekly since 1895. This is the latest Porsche 911 Turbo S, the 992.2 generation. The significant thing about it is the new engine, which is related to the one from the GTS, which we tested recently. But there is loads more to tell you, so what I'm going to do is drive it on the circuit and drive it on the road as well. But first, here are some technical details. So the latest 911 Turbo adopts the all-new 3.6 litre flat six engine, hybridised, that made its debut in the GTS last year. Mechanically, much of it is the same here. It has the same block and 8-speed automatic gearbox with an 80 horsepower electric motor in it. But the car never drives on this electric motor alone. The 400-volt hybrid system is about performance, not economy. The adoption of a high voltage system means that the engine is shorn of various pumps and ancillaries that used to live on top of the block. The most notable difference between the GTS and this Turbo S is that instead of one turbo, the Turbo S uses two. They're a little smaller, but they spin faster. They're e-turbos, or electrically assisted turbochargers, to get them spinning more quickly, but those motors can also be used as generators to return power to the 1.9 kilowatt hour battery. There is four-wheel drive and adaptive dampers, active rear steer and active anti-roll bars. And if all of that sounds complicated, one, it needs a lot of tuning, and two, it is complicated and a little heavier. So the latest 911 Turbo weighs 85 kilos more than the old one, at 1,725 kilos, and that's measured without rear seats these days. Still, Frank Moser, Porsche's vice president for the 911 and 718 model lines, told me that I would not think this car was in any way heavier than the old one while driving it. So let's see. Okay, so welcome to the inside of this car on circuit. I have driven it on the road on the way over, and I know we'll drive it. I'll drive the cabriolet on the road in a bit, but for now, let me tell you what this car is like on a circuit. I'll probably talk about the interior, stuff like that, when it's a bit more relaxed. Excuse me, out on the road, because the interiors will be largely the same. But what I can tell you is that the driving position is ace. Steering wheel is round. Ooh. And that flips around the rev range pretty quickly. So we're at Race Resort Ascari, which is a long circuit, 26 corners, 13 each way, weirdly. Designed by somebody who had a lot of money and a lot of time, and who just wanted somewhere to enjoy cars. What you notice is immediately how quickly this thing turns in. It's got active rear steer. One of the engineers said to me last night, you would not know that this car weighs so much more than its predecessor because what we've done to the chassis. And I don't know if I always believe that, but this car has got really, really wicked turning. It's pushing up to sort of steady state understeer, which is maybe not surprising. The rear tyres are 10mm wider than they were before because it's got so much oomph. They want to give it additional traction. So if you're coming out of a corner on the power, I think you can straighten. Yeah, you can. It's sort of, you can feel the car wanting to straighten its line ever so slightly. It's got more traction on the way out because of that extra rear tyre width. Oh my goodness, but on a steady throttle there is a little bit of stabilising understeer, as things should be. But because of the active rear steer on turning, braking is unbelievable. The brake pedal feel is fantastic. You can modulate it really easily. Steering's really, really precise. And because of that braking, because of the rear steer, because of the wickedness of the turning, I don't really think it's not an understeery car, is what I'm saying. There was a bit of a thought at times that people would say that the 911 Turbo is perhaps the cold version of the 911, slightly aloof. I mean, unbelievably capable, but they didn't necessarily warm to it like they would warm to a Carrera 2 or a GT3. But then actually, if you found somebody who had really exercised one on circuit, they go, no, it really does move around. It really is just as engaging a car as all the others. It just does things a bit differently. And I think that's kind of where we are with this car, but the fact that it feels like an and car, do you know what I mean? It will do that turn. It's unbelievable. This is quite a heavy car, really, but it just rotates beautifully. Really nicely. My goodness, my goodness. This is a car you can stick winter tyres on and go skiing in, right? And yet we'll also do easy motorway miles, drive you around town perfectly comfortably. It's got such a wicked response. There's just no turbo lag because, of course, the turbos being electrically boosted are, you know, respond like electric, like the cliche goes. Oh God, it's so good. It's so good. The fact that it will do all of this stuff, and yet this is the car that we drove over on the road in this morning. You know, some manufacturers will say, oh, we've got this car for the road, and then you get to the circuit, we've got some cars for the circuit only. Not with Porsche, they just go, yeah, look, drive it over to the track, and then we'll run a cloth over it, might drop the tyre pressures a bit, and then we'll run it around on circuit. And then it will sit pinking and smelling a bit in the pit lane. Just like phenomenal piece of kit. Phenomenal piece of kit. So the instructor I'm following has gone for a bonus extra lap, which I didn't expect, but I'm very, very happy about. There is a bit of lean, so I've got the dampers in their firm mode. There is a bit of lean and pitch and dive just to sort of lean up against. The body control is still really unbelievably good. It's not as flat as a GT3. Maybe it's not quite as engaging as a GT3 on circuit because they have a sort of balance to them that this car doesn't have, but and a lightness that this car doesn't have. But it does so much. It does so much. My goodness. I just love these. That's so nice out of there. So that's the extra poke, and the extra width of those back tyres means that as you drive it out of a slow corner, it's got the traction to cope with it, but you could just feel it just straightening its line really, really nicely. This is an obscenely good car. Oh, good grief. Some manufacturers have talked in the past about making an and car, like, you know, oh, okay, well, you can use it on the motorway and you can use it on a back road. You can use it on high summery days and on winter days. You know, you can be relaxed and you can be going fast. I don't think there is a car anywhere that does the and stuff quite as well as traditionally Porsche 911 turbos in general, specifically this Porsche 911 Turbo S. Okay, so this is the Turbo S on the road. This is a cabriolet. As you'll notice, I haven't put the roof down because you won't hear me properly. I have driven the coupe on the road a little, but not for long enough to put the camera on it, because what Porsche did is they said, look, drive from the morning location to the track directly, and then we will use those cars on the track all day until the end of the day, when they will go and take a direct route back. Not all manufacturers on these sort of events do that. Will trust the same cars that you use on the road to then be on circuit all day and then drive back. But Porsche are very relaxed about that, I think, even though the 911 Turbo S is mind-bendingly fast. on the track. What is it like on the road then? Well, let's talk you through the interior. It's very 911-ish. There is a new material they call turbonite, which is slightly cheesy, but you don't have to have it. It looks a bit sort of dark carbon-ish. This is probably the most flamboyant of all the 911s. It will be, it's not the most focused driver's one. It is one that is bought by people who want to spend all the money. But also there is, as you've seen on circuit, a deeply, deeply impressive driver's car underneath it. Material quality is good. The thing about a 911 is it's almost a sort of mass-produced car, but because it's like an expensive SUV in a way, because it's built in large numbers, it can be built with tooling suitable for large numbers in mind, and actually things that are built more on a semi-automated production line than stuff that is purely hand put together. Actually, in terms of fit and finish, I think it's probably easier to get tolerances right, to get repeatability right, to get quality right in those sorts of cars than it is in something that is rather more hand finished. So material quality is good in terms of the fit and finish of things. It feels very efficient, but you don't have to have such austere colours as this, as you'll have seen from the inside of the coupe on circuit. To drive on the road, well, I'm doing 50 miles an hour and it's very chilled and it's very relaxed. I've got the dampers in, or PDDC, which covers the anti-roll bars and the dampers in their soft mode, and the ride is pliant, really, really pliant. The convertible is not as good as the coupe. If you like wind in your hair, well, that is the answer. And about a third of Turbo S buyers will have convertibles worldwide, probably a bit more in the UK, because we do buy a lot of convertibles for a place where it rains. The idea is that when the sun's out, it's not so scorchingly hot you can't bear it. But you can feel, I think, one, a slight loss in chassis rigidity, and two, also, not an immense loss, but a slight loss in chassis rigidity, and two, also the fact that this car weighs a little more, and a lot of the extra weight is kind of sort of high and back there where you wouldn't necessarily want it. So it does feel like it moves around a little bit more than the coupe. It has a little bit less control of its body movements, but it is still, if I pop the dampers into the firmer mode, or if I go actually into Sport Plus, which kind of does the same thing, which then extends the spoiler at the same time, you do notice it firming up on really smooth Spanish roads like this, no big deal. On a slightly less well-finished UK road, if you're from the UK, you'll know what I mean. I suspect it may be a little fidgety. The other thing about them as road cars, and this was true on a circuit to an extent, but the thing about it on the road is that you get that overtaking urge, you get that throttle response, the absence of turbo lag. Because those two turbos spin up so quickly, because there is also the boost of the motor in the gearbox, there's no waiting for it to fill its lungs and then start going. The turbos just spin immediately, the motor fills the torque gap immediately, and it just picks up and lets go. It's extraordinarily fast and responsive. It's that kind of almost motorbike-like acceleration. It's just because this has got instant torque to the wheels that overcomes the weight of it. There are cars that do some things, so like a McLaren Artura might operate at this sporty end of things, and the Bentley Continental might operate at this luxury end of things. But the breadth that the 911 has of those two things combined is, I think, what makes it really so impressive. So So different 911s do different things. They're actually not necessarily subtly different. You know, a GT3 is quite track focused, and a Carrera 2, you can be very happy in one as a daily car that you never take on a race circuit. If you're looking for the most complete, the most broad sports car in the world that you can go on a skiing holiday in in 1 month, and you can drive it down from the mountains to a race circuit, maybe change it off of the winter tyres, and then drive it around a race circuit and have an amazing time and have it move around all over the place. I don't think there is much more complete car than this. If you're looking for the most complete sports car in the world, super sports car in the world, with the broadest ability in the world, I think you're probably looking at it. So thank you for joining me. We're here weekly on the YouTube. We're also over at autocar.co.uk, and if you are interested in seeing what we've been doing since 1895, go to themagasинeshop.com for full access to the Autocar digital archive.